Is it like a 5-second timer or something? In it? Oh, yeah, how's it going? It. No, I had a couple of frames earlier, yeah. Oh, fuck it. One of the best fucking handicaps in the whole fucking pool hall, man. You know what I mean? Ever since I kind of become boring, like, I was really good at snooker. It's not very glamorous, there's no girls or, like, parties or anything like that there. Because Jimmy White's sort of calmed down now as well, like, I was like, fuck's sake. I met Alex Higgins, I used to work in a wee bar, it was called the Beaten Docket. I lasted about 3 nights in it. Because I had some strange undiagnosed condition around about that time, probably owing to teenage years spent imbibing all sorts of nonsense, So the 20s to the 30s were quite difficult, So I managed to fool my way into this pub. People were coming up and asking for 3 drinks or something like that. Startled to begin with, having just moved to Belfast, these roughshod, city folk, I'm quite a mild-mannered little country fella, And they would ask me that, 3 drinks or 4 drinks. I'd turn around and I would just leave my mind completely, So, they say drugs are for mugs, like, people laugh at that, you know what I mean? I well believe it, you know what I mean? But, a lot of people go through kind of a bit of a crisis in their teenage years and in their 20s. And I remember reading a Frankie Boyle book, I think it was called My Shit Life So Far, or something like that. It seems all he ever done was take drugs, but he spoke of a thing about, this period that a lot of men go through in their mid-20s that isn't talked about at all. Like, they have some kind of a crisis. And, stuff can be difficult at times, can't it? So drugs are for mugs, but you might be a mug. You might be a mug. In which case, fill your boots. You know what I mean? It's probably good for you. I think some mugs kind of need it almost. But anyway, that's enough of my sob story. You know what I mean? Like, fucking hell, what a way to break the ice, yeah? Jesus Christ, man. Because people give me advice all the time. They're like, oh, why don't you make your videos like 3 minutes long and then people can? I was like, look, I don't really care that much. You know what I mean? I'll just talk on the thing, and whatever happens, happens. You know what I mean? And but somebody said to me, why don't you throw in some of your own story and stuff? And I goes, you know what? For once, I'm gonna stop being so self-centered, and I'm gonna try and try out this guy's idea. He's mug. A chipped out mug that you got for fucking Father's Day. Yeah, man. But a mug of the highest order, it turns out, because I tried this thing there and it was really boring, wasn't it? So. But some people get the idea that somebody plays the guitars, they're supposed to be some crazed rock star, full of personality and all of this other stuff. And it's like, no, actually, I spent 15 hours this week practicing guitar alone. Never mind singing, never mind working on putting songs together and all of this other stuff. It's like, you know what I mean? It's a full-time job if you're passionate, and that's what you want to do. And again, sometimes it ain't quite as glamorous as what you would have hoped for or liked, but it's still quite good. If you're a good musician, you get a few gigs here and there, and you'll get to achieve things as a player and just as a musician in terms of thinking about songs, and that you maybe never dreamed that you'd ever kind of get to those wee levels and stuff, So and you jam with your friends and you're playing and, you know, this band, that band, the other. You know what I mean? And you're just busy and you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. And if you have that kind of faith and belief in whatever your station, your calling, your vocation might be, it's a beautiful thing. And for periods, maybe of a week or two, it feels like nothing can go wrong. Everything's laid out in front of you, and it's like, you know, playing Lego or something. You know what I mean? Or snakes and ladders. You know? Yeah. And you know, the thing is, if you're a musician and you're kind of nerdy and wordy and all of that, you know, a joke like, oh, snakes and ladders, just, oh, there's only one snake around here. You know, and, oh, I never walk under ladders, but in this, you know, making something. You know, who is suggesting these jokes, these awful jokes, man? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it is, you know. They seem to have a, you know, like a sushi restaurant where they have the belt coming around. That's like Northern Irish comedy, isn't it? As there's, I'll take that out. Fucking tuna, Jesus Christ, John West. Cost me fucking $6.99 for half a tin. You know what I mean? Fucking bread wasn't buttered. He gave me his pistachio fucking sauce. Got sick off that. Vomited all over her food and her fucking lovely outfit that she came out in. And I was like, yeah, I can see why you're so in demand as a, you know, as a stand-up artist or something like that. But isn't it cool to do a few different things as well? Like, you know, if you're like an entertainer or an athlete, it's kind of incumbent upon you to do some kind of social media work. But some people, they don't want to do that. They're not into interviews and social media. It's just something that they'd be more comfortable avoiding, you know. So that's all cool too, like, but I think it's interesting, you know, if you take a look at Christopher Columbus, right? He's a boxer, you know, comedian. And next thing he starts doing the announcements, like the ring announcements. That's not his name, Christopher Columbus. I don't know why that sprang to mind, like, because it bears no connection whatsoever, or does it? It remains to be seen. But I think that's a cool thing. I think it's cool if people do a lot of wee bits and bobs, and like, you might as well try your hand at a bit of this, bit of that. You know what I mean? There's something cool about that, I feel, you know. And even if you fall on a pile and, you know what I mean, things don't go so well for you, or all of that there, like, you know, and the sort of slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. And Shakespeare was pretty good, wasn't he? Like, you know, everybody knows, like, you know, you go to school and they're reading them as plays and all this here. But I would actually wager, if you ever heard this wee song, right, I'll just play a tiny fucking bit of it, right? Because I'm only playing it the second Christopher Columbus. But fucking Shakespeare, like, he did Romeo and Juliet, one of his greatest, you know, romance novels and all that there, like, you know, I haven't seen the film or nothing like that there yet, but as he's probably a good director as well, wouldn't he be? But do you know that wee one by Knopfler, Mark Knopfler? He goes, "The love-struck Romeo sing a straight up serenade, laying everybody low with a love song that he made. Way out in the street lights, sat down in the shade." You know what I mean? He sings at about 1% volume. How are you supposed to fucking make out there, right? Good song. Good song. Hard to fucking sing, man. Because mostly, like in rock and roll, it's all about singing as high as you can, and that's the fucking shit. Do the high note there, like. You know what I mean? And but this guy's just completely gone the other direction. He's like, I'm gonna sing as low as I possibly fucking can, like. But something I noticed is it's actually, I would usually listen to that song and have a wee laugh with it, and I love it, I'll stick it on, you know what I mean? Love this tune really here, you know, one of them wee numbers. And next thing I started playing it the other night, trying to learn it, and a hay fever was kicking in, like, about, you know, because the pollen count this time of year is record highs and all that there. But I suddenly realised it's actually quite a sad song, like, it's beautiful and all, but it's kind of fucking sad. So I think Knopfler, like, must have thought, this one's going in for the charts, so we're just going to knock off that very passionate, visceral melancholy and brokenheartedness because it's a bit too much full on for these wee pop disco kids, you know. So he kind of sang it, he changed up the way he sang it a bit, didn't he? Like, I don't know if he did this on purpose or what the fuck. Like, you never know with somebody like fucking Mark Knopfler. And he goes, love struck Romeo. He goes, sing a street of serenade. He starts throwing in all those little bits, you know what I'm saying? What's the one? So, Julia, when we made love, you used to cry. You know, if you actually sing that and your mate's wife, who was the love of your life, is in the fucking audience, like, you're gonna have a fucking emotional breakdown. You might lash out or something like that there, like, you know what I mean? It's so fucking much. So you have to put a wee bit of a twist in it, a wee bit of cartoonishness and a wee bit of fun. I think it's an important lesson, you know, in music anyway, like, you know. Or if you have a real dry personality, if you're devoid of personality like I am, you know, just when you hit the button, pretend to be a real fucking fun-loving guy and, you know, all that old shit. So, I'm gonna go learn the fucking Snicker intro song. It's a good wee tune, wasn't it? So, I'm gonna learn that, and I'm gonna write this song about Christopher Columbus, which is gonna be fucking brilliant, like. And, yeah, there are parallels to the current situation, you know what I mean? But that's for you to investigate, so good night.